2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 and 5. Flip back. Paul said, mark this, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. Same scripture, people will be lovers of themselves, money, boastful, proud, and abusive. Disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, have nothing to do with such people. But Pastor, haven't people always been like this? Haven't there always been earthquakes and wars and rumors of wars and depravity and false teachers? Listen, that's a fair question. Fair question. The key word is here, convergence. Jesus says when all these things, in other words, when all these things come together. Matthew 24 and 33, if you could put that up there, Josh. It says, even so, here it is, when you see, somebody say all these things. You know that it's near, right at the door. That generation will not pass away until, here it is again, all of these things are fulfilled. Even Jesus mentions the final societal depravity in his Olivet Discourse. And I think I have a slide for this. Matthew 24 and 12, he says, because, there it is, he said, lawlessness is increased. Most people's love will grow cold. And then in 37, he says, for the coming of the Son of Man will be just as it was in the days of Noah. Well, what were the days of Noah like? We don't have to guess. The Bible tells us. Watch. Genesis 6, verse 5. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. And then in verse 11, now the earth was corrupt in the sight of God, and the earth was filled with violence. Two characteristics in Noah's day was number one, violence. Number two, immorality or corruption. Judah, do you think that depicts our society today? Speaking of corruption, does anybody really trust the media today? Do you trust the United Nations or the World Health Organization or even most politicians, right, center, and left? Why? Because there's corruption through and through. Number two, violence. This year there is record-breaking violence in Chicago. Just over the weekend, 50-some shootings. One weekend. Unfortunately, this is the norm in Chicago. If you follow, most of the media doesn't even carry it. Portland, last summer, tens of millions of dollars in damage due to the rioting. However, out of all that, one person was prosecuted. One. Lawlessness. Minneapolis, the damage was in the hundreds of millions. Several mayors and governors told the police to stand down during the riots last year. That's lawlessness. St. Louis is now the murder capital of the USA. New York City, crime, rape, violent crimes up 43%. They have a no bail policy. If you get caught, there's no bail. They just let you go. Los Angeles, San Francisco, they just passed a new law. If you rob a store and it's under $1,000, they don't prosecute you. They let you go. 17 Walgreens have closed in San Francisco alone because people were just coming in, stealing $300-400 worth of stuff. CVS told their employees, they put out a blanket statement, if you see somebody robbing, don't even stop them. This is lawlessness. The arrest, listen to this clearly, of illegal immigrants. Did somebody hear me? Illegal immigrants this year is up 900%. Charlotte, North Carolina has had a 210% increase in sexual assaults against kids in the past 12 months. Would you say this is lawlessness? But then you have these wackos who cry, defund the police. Listen, church, this is just another sign of the soon return of Jesus Christ. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The Bible calls the Antichrist the man of lawlessness. In Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, it says the Antichrist will want to change the times, meaning change the culture, y'all hearing me? And change the laws. Who in their right mind changes a law if you rob a store of less than $1,000, you don't even prosecute them? It's delusion. It's delusion. In Paul's letter to Timothy, he details this depravity, and then he states in verse 2, people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, and in verse 4 he says lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Listen, church, these three things are humanism, materialism, and hedonism. Humanism is the religion or the philosophy of worshiping man. Materialism, which is the religion of having things. And finally, hedonism is the religion of the pursuit of pleasure. Watch this. Anytime you have those three philosophies or religions, if you will, converge, you always have the result of what philosophers call nihilism. Nihilism means a total rejection of the established laws and institution, causing anarchy or a revolution. Honey, if you don't think we are at the point of nihilism in America today, with the rejection of the rewriting of our laws in our nation, which were founded on the Bible, you must be living under a rock. If you don't think that we are at the point of the rejection of the institution of the church, the institution of a biblical marriage, and our Judeo-Christian values, including the 10 Commandments in our country, no, they'd rather put up a rainbow. Little do they know, that's my Father's rainbow. That's his promise, honey, to you and I. That's a covenant rainbow. And you have a depraved world who's trying to destroy it.
Hi, I'm Pastor Michael Urisha, and I hope you enjoyed today's short word. If you liked and agreed with this message, please hit the share button and share it with everyone you know. Together, we could proclaim this gospel of Jesus Christ to the ends of the earth. And now, if you'd like to watch the message in its entirety, simply click on the link below. God bless you, my friend, and we hope to see you here next time as together we go beyond.
To every nation, to every generation, to all creation, to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. To every nation, every generation, to all creation, to proclaim the gospel of Jesus.